I'm going to show you how you can build your own DIY airbrush. DIY airbrush spray booth. Crafsman has been extremely humid. What had happened was, Crafsman walked in to find my floors soaking wet. That's what we want to see. A while back, I upgraded my AC to a window mini split unit. It runs a lot quieter, but about the time I noticed that thing was leaking all down my floor, down my wall, I had to stuff some metal, try to redirect it. The company had sent out finally a recall notice. I guess apparently I wasn't the only one getting flooded out here. Crafsman does not normally use profanity on my channel, but y'all, I said, dang, I'm finna have to install a AC again. And I did.
All right. Yeah. Oh.
But when life gives you lemons, I said, let's also build us a spray booth. I've been using this cheap Amazon's one. It's okay, but I haven't been too confident about how well it's drawing out the fumes. It's basically 2 PC fans inside of a box, so not a ton of oomph or pulling power. And since I use almost exclusively vinyl paint with strong solvents, I want to be pulling through more volume. Now we could just rig a high-powered fan to the back of this right here maybe. But I want to build a booth that's a little big because when I'm painting a batch of figures, it gets kind of crowded kind of fast. My first inclination was to get some plywood since I still have some left over from when we took apart the sound booth, but this is way too hefty. I wouldn't need any more than like maybe a ½ inch or something. In theory, our existing spray booth here is basically some type of plastic. It's thin, but it works. I shifted my mind into kit bash mode. That's where, instead of building something completely from scratch, you search for something that already exists that would be a more instantaneous solution. Crafsman has several plastic containers out here, and I'm willing to dump stuff out and use one of them, but I feel like we need a little more depth to it. It's starting to kind of feel like a trip to the hardware store, but before we go, let's sort of break down what we're doing right here. Our main components are the booth, the fan, the filter, and it's super useful to have some sort of light. Now for the fan, Crafsman has one on order. For the rest of this stuff, we can procure it with a trip into town. First, let's select us a container. I like this one right here. And for the filter, I'm simply looking for one that fits in our container. And here's an under cabinet light that fits our spray booth. And check that out, we've already got a significant space upgrade. Instead of a high density air filter, I went with a conventional filter. That's because I'm not trying to completely purify the air. We want just enough fiber material that it'll catch the paint particles that will protect the fan motor. Speaking of fan motor, here it is. Now, as I said a while ago, this one might be overkill for your needs. But in the interest of extra safety, Crafsman got an explosion proof. For tools, I'm just using a craft knife and a drill with a step bit. I like a step bit for thin plastic. And we're gonna need just a couple of nuts and bolts for attaching our light. Which, let's go ahead and figure that out right now. The light's gonna be mounted to the underside, kind of like that. But I found it easier to go ahead and mark and work on it on the top here. So I'm just marking off. Now when drilling these holes, I like to kindly support the underside, keeping my fingers away from the bit. And let's go ahead and cut us a hole for the light power cable so it can run out the side. And before we install our light, let's go ahead and cut out our main vent opening. Now I'm basically gonna center our motor right here. Center, the best I can. I'm not measuring, I'm eyeballing all of this today, okay? And I'm gonna trace a little profile around it for cutting. Now I'm just gonna take my time and work this blade around without forcing, using my arm, okay? Understand? I'm not gonna, I'm keeping the force relegated to my fingers. All right, that means any slip-ups can only go so far. All right, we got us a hole. And it doesn't matter that it's not clean and pretty. We're gonna cover it up with the filter, so don't worry about it. Instead of just sticking our motor on the back somehow, kind of like that, I'm gonna actually use the extendable vent that came with the motor. This was going to allow us to put the fan outside, which is super convenient because it's a loud fan. Since we traced around the motor itself, this makes our hole a slightly smaller size, so that now we can fit that rim inside there. Duct tape. Duct tape is what Crafsman's use it to help seal up the connection. Y'all, we did it. We got us a spray booth. Almost a spray booth. So actually we might have a problem. Look at this. It's right up against the back. All right. Which means we're only gonna have this circle pulling, and we're gonna be wasting all the outside of our filter. What can we do? Well, I simply upgraded to a larger filter. The finishing touch now is to add us some type of sealer stripping around it. Crafsman forgot about this step while I was at the hardware store, so just using what we got on hand. Now the real test is when we really test it. Right. All right, I'm outside. We about to cut this on. I'm gonna let you hear just how loud it is. And here we are inside. Listen to that. Nice and quiet. It's pulling that powder right up. Let's try it with some paint. There's actually a formula that you can use to determine your motor. Just take your height times your width in feet, times that by 100, and that's the CFM motor that you need for your opening. Here's my calculations as an example right here. And here's my fan rating. As you can see, it's within the capacity. I can't smell no vapors. I asked my wife because she can smell real good. She ain't smelled nothing. I kind of can't believe that worked. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. Until next time, I love y'all and keep on steady crafting.